Hey guys, welcome back to the Mortgage Maze, our latest episode here on the channel. Today guys, we're talking about the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, and if you are looking to buy your first home, or if you have not bought a house in the last 3 years, there's some great news for home buyers that just got released a few days ago. And of course, we're bringing back our good friend Stephen Knorr with Alcova Mortgage to talk about this whole program, break down the details, and we have other good news to share as well. So I want to start this off and get Stephen right on the channel because I want to jump right into this topic. So Stephen, how are you today?
Hey Brian, I'm doing wonderful, man. The sun's shining and spring's here. Hopefully it doesn't go right into summer. Hopefully we get a few good spring days, but man, the market's ticking up and it's exciting for us. There's some reprieve and some exciting new lending products coming to the spring market here in Q2.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to get you on here for, because there's been some swirling around about the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, and this program's been around for a long time, but they have tweaked it a little bit to help out first-time homebuyers get into some houses. So I'm excited to share with our viewers what the changes are and have you kind of break some things down. So you tell me where you want to start with this, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Yeah, I would love to. So the NCHFA, which is a state program, so we're specifically talking about North Carolina right now, but each state, depending on where you're watching this from, has a very similar program. As of April 1st, 3 days ago from when we're recording this, came out and increased one of their programs that used to offer $8,000 down payment assistance is now up to $15,000. So that's really huge for the first-time home buyer. That program, that down payment assistance program, can be utilized with all the loan types that are out there, and it can cover down payment and closing costs. A lot of the times the sellers can cover the closing costs, but not the down payment. So if you're eligible for this program, you can truly utilize that $15,000, and at the right price point, it could yield no, money out of your pocket for home ownership.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's a few bullet points to this program. Let me bring up the slide here. We can kind of walk through these with our viewers here and take it away. Stephen, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. This is essentially the qualifications, right?
Right. Pretty simple, but it is black and white. This is a state, it's a grant. So that's the first thing I want to make sure is this is not free money. This is not a free lunch. It is a grant, and with a state grant comes back a repayment plan where if you're eligible and you take this $15,000 down payment assistance, you have to stay in the house for 15 years. The loan itself is a silent second mortgage, which means it's recorded, but you never have to make a monthly payment. But the balance is due if you sell or refinance before 15 years. Years 10 through 15, 20% of that $15,000 is waived to where the start of year 16, you would not owe anything back. So there's always a little bit of a catch, but it's still a great program. You have to be a first-time home buyer, which means you've not owned a principal residence in 3 years. A lot of people say, well, how are they going to know? Your tax returns. If your Schedule A shows any type of mortgage interest deduction or real estate tax or anything home ownership related, they check all that stuff. So, you gotta be a first-time home buyer, which means you haven't owned a home primary residence in the last 3 years. You have to have a 640 credit score. You have to occupy the house as a primary residence. You have to be a legal resident of the U.S. And there are income and purchase price limits based on the county. So North Carolina has over 100 counties. We can't go through all of that, but there's a link that Brian has, I think if you can share that kind of shows a drop down, and we can just use Mecklenburg County, which is, the greater Charlotte region, to kind of show you the purchase price limit is $385,000. So if you're trying to buy a $450,000 home, that property itself would not be eligible. And then if you're a single person, it's the middle column, which is the North Carolina Advantage First Home Mortgage. $96,000 is your income limit. And then if you go and have three or more people, it's 110. And this is also family income or qualifying income, everybody that lives in the house. So since it is a state program, they have their own kind of way of calculating income. So that's why it's super important where if you have any interest in this, to get in touch with us, because just because your W-2 says one number, we're going to calculate it possibly different with everybody living in the house.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let me just go ahead quickly and just switch gears here to pick another county. Let's just say Rowan County, for example, just to show that the income limits are a little bit different per county, but they're relatively close to Mecklenburg. So generally, we have 92,000 here, and then three or more people jumps up to 106, and it looks like the sales price limit's still there at 385. So a question that I have for you, Stephen, is if someone gets approved for a loan, like it's FHA, conventional, you can use this for, right? Either one of those two?
FHA and VA as well, yep.
Okay. So all of those. So once you, for example, approve the loan on your end, then you have to send everything to North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, and what's the turn time for them?
That is correct. There's some extra forms that go along with the contract, and then since it is a second mortgage, there's a whole set of paperwork that the state does process. We don't exactly know the turn times because we don't know how many people are going to utilize this brand new program, but we usually tell people just allow for a couple extra days. The underwriting process up front is the same. It's more like when you get to closing, there's a full second loan package that comes, but 3 or 4 business days. So nothing huge in the big picture, but we definitely don't want to try to close these in 2 weeks since we're dealing with 2 entities and one being a state office as well. The other thing I did want to point out is duplexes are not allowed in this program. We get that question a lot, and manufactured homes are only allowed if they're brand new from the dealer. So that's your classic double wide. So those are the only 2 property types that have kind of an asterisk next to it. Everything else, single family, townhome, condo, modular homes are good to go. Duplexes and manufactured, not so much.
Gotcha. Okay. I think this is fantastic. I think it's going to help a lot of people out that maybe didn't think they had a chance at home ownership,
Right.
in the past. So this is good stuff that the state is doing. And there's other good news that we chatted about yesterday that's happening too in the industry. What else is good for the buyers out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It seems like the mortgage industry is kind of known to tighten up, and it seems like some of these rules are being loosened to help a lot of people probably that are renting that are stuck with a rent payment that they can't afford. My sister just got a notice if she doesn't sign a year lease, her rent goes from $2,200 to almost $3,000 on a month to month, and she was like, "What am I supposed to do? I can't afford that." And that's the call that we get the most right now. Medical collections. So as of April as well, any medical collection under $500 is not going to report to your credit report. That's huge. That wipes out almost 70% of all medical collections that would normally post and have a negative impact on somebody's credit score. In July, they took away all paid medical collections. So even though it was a paid medical collection, it was kind of like a nasty scar, like you could still kind of see some of the damage. And then they've also worked with the bureaus and the agencies, and any unpaid medical collections now can take almost a year to post, where they would hit right at 30 or 60 days. So that alone could jump somebody's credit score from not qualifying, especially for this program that's 640. If you have some medical collections under $500 from last month, they are literally gone this month, and we could try to re-pull your credit and see if you're over that 640 benchmark. So that's huge for somebody that's trying to get into some of these specialty loan products right there on teetering on if their score is eligible.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a great thing. I think we're going to start seeing some people that were close to being ready to go with those collections being removed, scores bumping over that 640s. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
Speaking of making loans more affordable, FHA and VA reduced some fees, right?
They sure did. They sure did. They reduced, FHA reduced the monthly mortgage qualifier. So that has been reduced, which is the FHA PMI. So that's going to help people not only qualify for more house, but also have a lower payment in the same bracket. And then VA has reduced some of their fees that they charge up front for some of their veterans, which I've always thought were a little bit excessive for all the good that the veterans bring and their services. So again, that's the stuff where the past years we've just been seeing all those numbers go up and up and up. So for the credit bureaus to say, hey, we're going to loosen our guidelines, and FHA and VA, which are more government entities, are going to say, hey, we're going to bring our numbers down. That's a real big positive, especially heading into the summer months where there should hopefully be more inventory coming to market. We just want to make sure that everybody is aware of this, because your dream home might be hitting next week, and if you're not ready to buy it, I think there's going to be a lot of other people that might be. So we want to get everybody approved and have their kind of gun loaded per se, so they can fire away when that house hits the market.
Yeah, totally. Hey, if you guys need to get a hold of Steven to have him run your credit or run a scenario based on this North Carolina program, very easy to get a hold of there. Just scan that QR code. That'll take you right to his calendar, and you can set an appointment with him and talk about your situation. And the same for me. If you need my help in your home search, scan that QR code as well. It'll take you right to my calendar. Set up a quick meeting on Zoom, talk about your timeline, and get you into a house, and answer any questions that you've got. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning into our show today. Guys, if you're getting any value out of our videos, do us a favor, give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel. We've got some more awesome topics we're bringing to you down the road. So Steven, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up today?
We're here as always to serve. So whatever we can do to help, we'd be more than happy to.
Awesome. Now, guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, make it a great day, and we'll see you next time.